Success is not built on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. Sometimes it's built on catastrophe. Navjot Singh Sidhu. My friends, each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes, we learn from our mistakes. We hone things down. We get better. We keep it simple and straightforward. And time after time after time, if you cut your losses and let your profits run, if you just use that simple, always winning formula that we teach, and you have a chart that is decent, all you have to do is practice and prove it to yourself over and over and over. Again, let's jump into these charts, see where things are going. Starting the week off up in stocks and Bitcoin, down in bonds and gold. Let's first look at the S&P 500. Last week, how did the week look? It was a weak week. We had 3 down weeks. Of course, we had a nice cashing out point at 1.83% down. And then that following week, things just fizzled on us. We had a doji. You can see the way I've drawn this, because all I would do if I drew it from bottom to bottom is it'd be a flat line. So what did we do? Just to sort of start the week off, we used the 2-day chart to help us draw something. So again, we're not using that for anything other than to have some kind of line by which to see. Now, how many of you pulled the trigger with the prior high volume on those 2 down moves, and then the higher volume last week with the doji? And again, when we go back in time and looked over and over and over again, when we saw that next week moved up. Now, what's interesting is if you look back in time, the prior up move, again, after 3 weeks of down moves, like we saw this last time, and the time before, you saw it went up for 2 weeks and then just sort of fizzled and then rolled over again. So are we in that kind of mood where we've topped out after this nice 12% run up, ending pretty much in the end of July, and then down, up a little bit, fake out, down? Is it going to do that same as the market just trunnels down over the next many weeks or months? Don't know. That may be the case, and it might be a pattern for us. Well, it is a pattern for us to look for potentially happening. But as we see things, as we start the week off, we do see, again, markets moving up 1.05%. We see on this 2-day chart, we're not reaching a higher high. This is important. You can see on that 2-day candle representing Monday and Tuesday of last week, then Wednesday and Thursday, and this latest one, Friday and Monday, you can see that we've hit about the same high point on all those. So what's really happening? Well, we're going to pay attention and see how this week. You can also see it on the half day. See where it popped up on Tuesday, and really it hasn't moved above the high Tuesday morning of last week, the 10th of October. So again, pay attention to potentially dying on the vine. Don't know that's going to happen, but we'll keep an eye on things. Now, what about the NASDAQ 100? We had a good enough trend line here that we drew it on the 2-day chart. And of course, we see things taking off 1.13% up. We're above the trend line on the 2-day and the half day. But again, we can see, excuse me, we can see the latest high happened on Thursday, the 12th. I'm going to leave stocks, go to bonds. Bonds, the big hammer down for the day, 1.61%. Again, as we look at the weekly chart, you can see that we've not hit the low that we hit back on the week beginning Monday, the 2nd of October. But you do see on this 2-day chart with all that volume where, it looked like we did have a green candle representing Wednesday and Thursday of last week. But this Friday, Monday, things just sort of dying again with high volume. Have we just stalled and can't reach it and we're rolling back over? You can see that on the half day. We will keep an eye on things. Remember, that first move, of course, was a beautiful one for us. Again, capturing, what is that, 2.10%. And then again, like I said, letting the profits ride. So again, will not fault you at all if, as you started to see things slow down and start to creep through the weekly trend line on the 2-day chart, you went ahead and cashed in your profits. That's not a problem. If you stayed in, good on you. We'll see how that goes. What about gold? Well, we look at the Heikin Ashi candlesticks and remember how they are calculated. We have a great training on that. I'm going to put that Heikin Ashi training at the end of today's video so you understand it, why we use Heikin Ashi candlesticks. But when you look at an up candle on a down day, gold was down 0.49%. It is calculated differently and tells you something different. You can see the same on the 2-day. This represents, of course, Friday and Monday. And you can see on the half day where Monday dropped down below that huge boost up on Friday, pulled back some. But as we see with gold, again, as the week starts, the average pace is showing us up movement, even though gold was down a little bit for the day. We're well above the weekly trend line on both the 2-day, with that 2-day candle passing through, and the half day. So we'll keep our eye on gold as the week continues to progress. Now, what about Bitcoin? Bounding back again after several days of down movement. We saw Bitcoin pull up a little bit on Friday and then a boom, hammering up on Monday morning, pulling back some on Monday afternoon, but overall up 6.58%. And look at the little train that could. I mean, it goes up one week and then pulls back. Goes up the next week, pulls back. Goes up the next week. Again, sort of a new type of thing we're seeing with Bitcoin, but it is, again, trying to keep. And look at these candles. They're getting higher and bigger in size. Not something that I'm used to seeing in the stock market at all, but again, agreed, Bitcoin is different, but it is trying to move up. Hasn't hit the highs that it hit back in June and July, and then we had that rollover going through early September, but it looks like it's again trying to gain a little momentum. We'll keep an eye on it. That is where we are, friends, as we start this week. And again, I hope you'll be with us each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes. That's all we ask. And do take the training at the end of today's video on Heikin Ashi candlesticks, what you need to know and why we love them. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World headquarters.